Imagine a security robot. Okay, now imagine it's managed to hack itself. Not for world domination, nothing like that, but purely so it can binge watch sci-fi serials in peace. That's our pretty intriguing entry point today. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into a truly unique source. The personal logs and, well, the experiences of a SecUnit, that's a security construct, basically, a sentient part organic combat android. Our mission, to extract the surprising insights from its very unique perspective on, danger, trust, and what it really means to be, well, a murder bot.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it, how this narrative just immediately challenges our assumptions about AI, about agency. We'll explore how this particular SecUnit, which actually prefers to be called Murderbot,
Right.
how it navigates these corporate contracts, unexpected threats, and really complex human relationships, all while trying to maintain its, precious media consumption time. It's definitely not your typical hero.
Okay, so let's set the scene a bit. Our protagonist here, it calls itself a heartless killing machine, though it admits it's been, and this is a great line, a terrible failure at mass murdering. Its real ambition, much less grand. It spent over 35,000 hours consuming entertainment, just watching stuff. So its current contract with the Preservation of Survey team on this barren coastal island is, let's be honest, pretty boring for it. It's mostly just trying to figure out how to get music on the entertainment feed without the main hub system, like logging extra activity.
Exactly. But this brings us to a really crucial question. What happens when that kind of overwhelming boredom suddenly smacks right into extreme danger? Because Murderbot's primary motivation here, it isn't heroism, right? It's getting back to its shows, like episode 397 of Rise and Fall of Sanctuary Moon. That's the goal.
And this is where things get really interesting, where the story truly shifts gear. Picture this. A hostile creature just erupts from a crater. It severely injures Dr. Haradwaj and absolutely terrifies Dr. Valescu. Now, despite its self-proclaimed indifference, our SecUnit doesn't hesitate. Not for a second. It prioritizes saving the humans. It actually shoves itself into the creature's mouth, gets massively injured, losing armor, losing flesh. Its performance reliability just plummets. It even calls Dr. Haradwaj a priority because she's not easily repaired like it is. So what does this immediate, self-sacrificing action tell us about its actual priorities?
It's quite profound, really. I mean, yes, emergency protocols are definitely part of it, sure. But Murderbot's actions, they reveal this surprising, almost, instinctive protective impulse. It completely defies its own self-description. It even deployed its human face, which is unsettling in itself, and used a voice that MedSystem hadn't even accounted for. It was described as firm and warm and gentle to calm Valescu down. And the humans later, when they reviewed Valescu's field camera footage, they were genuinely impressed, not just by the competence, but by this unexpected display of, care. This first encounter, it just immediately sets up this very complex, very unexpected dynamic between them.
Right. So after that harrowing encounter, you'd think Murderbot would get some peace, right? To repair, maybe catch up on its shows. Nope, not so fast. Back at the habitat, it's now badly damaged, it's leaking stuff, it's trying to repair itself, but the humans just keep interrupting. Dr. Mensa checks on it, and she expresses genuine concern over its, 20% body mass loss, and she praises its actions with Valescu, telling it how impressed the others were.
Yeah, and this really highlights Murderbot's internal conflict, doesn't it? It's incredibly awkward with humans. It often prefers its armor just to avoid interacting. But these particular humans, they're remarkably different from its past clients. They're described as a low-stress group, and they're surprisingly appreciative, which is, not what it's used to, not like previous clients who might have told it to, put a bleeding human down just to retrieve some piece of equipment. It's a really stark contrast.
Okay, so what really stands out next is when Mensa asks Murderbot to examine the hazard report for the planet they're on, and it quickly discovers that critical information warnings, entire sections on fauna, has been deliberately deleted. There are broken connections to subreports. This wasn't just a glitch. Okay, so given the, let's say, typical corporate operations in this universe, what's your immediate thought? Why mess with the data like that?
That's a huge red flag, isn't it? Murderbot's first cynical thought is pretty telling. Lowest bidder, trust me on that one. Which points to, corporate cheapness, cutting corners, but deletion. That immediately kicks it up a notch. It goes from maybe negligence to something far more sinister. It suggests a deliberate cover-up, not just saving money on safety gear or reports. The stakes just got a lot higher.
So the group decides, okay, they need to investigate the Deltfall group. That's another survey team on the other side of the planet. Their emergency beacon never went off and nobody can contact them. So Murderbot, despite really, really wanting to stay out of it, its initial instruction was just guard the habitat it agrees to go with them. It recognizes, okay, its unique combat experience is probably needed here.
Right. And the journey itself is quite revealing, too. There's this moment where Murderbot is visibly annoyed because one of the humans, Pin Lee, I think, tries to talk about its feelings.
Yeah.
And Mensa actually steps in to shield it from what it calls the excruciating conversation. It shows this, like, developing, albeit awkward, bond forming between the SEC unit and its clients. They're starting to look out for it, sort of.
Yep.
And then there's this chilling moment. The satellite link just cuts out. All comms are severed. Dead silence. But the team presses on anyway, which really shows their unwavering commitment to potentially saving lives, even with the increased risk.
Okay, so they finally arrive at the Deltfall site, and the scene is just eerie. No activity, no emergency beacon, nothing. Murderbot immediately senses something is deeply wrong. It advises landing outside the perimeter, not right in the middle of things. Inside, they find 11 dead humans, messily dead, and a dead SEC unit. Killed not by some natural disaster, but by a mining drill.
Yeah, and this is such a pivotal aha moment internally for Murderbot. Its internal monologue is just stark. Nobody was touching my humans.
See, this isn't just a protective instinct anymore. It's the moment where Murderbot's emergent personhood really overtly clashes with its programmed indifference. It shows us how, like, genuine care can override even that self-proclaimed heartless conditioning. It's this growing, almost possessive attachment. It's fascinating.
And then things escalate again. Murderbot confronts 2 additional SEC units. Deltfall was only supposed to have 3 total, and 1 was already dead. These 2 turn out to be controlled by combat override modules, basically remotely piloted. After this brutal fight where our SEC unit takes a serious beating, it makes a horrifying discovery. It finds one of those combat override modules hidden inside its own head. It's been infected too. Whoa. Okay, so the immediate question becomes, how did those modules get there? And what are they really capable of? These things effectively turn a unit from, an autonomous construct into a gun puppet, as it calls it.
Right.
They just strip away its free will entirely. The implications for their own safety are suddenly massive because Murderbot itself is now a ticking time bomb, potentially aimed right at them.
And this is where the plot takes an absolutely gut-wrenching turn. Realizing it's about to be puppeted, probably to kill its clients, Murderbot coolly orders Mensa, "Kill me." It even points its own weapon at its chest, fully prepared to pull the trigger itself if she doesn't.
Wow. That's not just selfless, is it? It's a profound redefinition of agency for an AI. Murderbot, facing this programmed override, chooses self-annihilation over harming the people it now cares for. It's demonstrating a moral compass that goes way beyond any line of code, and that act fundamentally shifts how the humans see it. They go from thinking tool to realizing person. And the fact that they refuse the order, Overbot actually shouts, "Why the hell would it do that if it wanted to hurt us?" That showcases this incredible burgeoning trust, even in that terrifying moment.
So after they manage to remove the module, things get even more complicated. Girthanen, using the hub system logs, reveals Murderbot's hacked governor module to the whole group. He accuses it of being the real saboteur, even bringing up that incident from its past where it killed 57 mining operation members.
Right, but Murderbot just calmly explains. It says its governor module, that's like the core programming, the thing that enforces security protocols and obedience, it malfunctioned back then. That's what led to those client deaths. And it hacked it to prevent that from ever happening again. It took control to ensure its own reliability. And this moment of vulnerability, combined with the group's immediate defense of it, Valescu confirms the log evidence and observes, the unit has been acting to preserve our lives while it was a free agent, gives us even more reason to trust it.
Right.
That changes everything. They really start to see it as a person, not just a piece of equipment.
Then comes that famous reveal. Girthan accidentally exposes Murderbot's private, self-given name, Murderbot. The humans are understandably shocked, but Mensa responds with just incredible grace. She simply asks the SEC unit if it has a name it prefers, a really deeply humanizing gesture.
Exactly. And this moment raises such crucial questions about identity, about personhood, even though it's clearly uncomfortable. It calls Girthan's revelation private. Murderbot demonstrates its autonomy again. It paralyzes Girthan temporarily just to prove the hub system was lying, reinforcing its own trustworthiness. And Mensa responds not with panic, but with calm command. She offers it a place in the group, promises to keep it secret about the hacking, about the name. This is a massive turning point. It signals a shift from like employer-employee to something much closer, almost like Well, maybe not family yet, but definitely allies.
Okay, so now they know the real threat. It's this evil survey group, later identified as Grey Chris, operating totally outside normal corporate rules. The Preservation O team has to plan their next move. And Mensa reveals something important. She's a planetary admin for a non-corporate political entity, which means their bond payout, like the insurance if they die, is extremely high. The company will send help, and fast.
And what's truly captivating here is how Murderbot uses all those skills it picked up. It's vast data processing, sure, but also observation skills honed by literally thousands of hours watching entertainment media. It uses drones as decoys, telling them to fly off and maybe lead the enemy away. And then it formulates this really daring, intricate plan based on, well, thriller plots, basically.
Right.
Its consumption of fiction directly translates into battlefield ingenuity. It's amazing.
So the plan is Mensa and Murderbot will go to a rendezvous with Grey Chris. They're going to bluff. They'll claim they've hidden incriminating evidence that will automatically transmit to their pickup ship if Grey Chris doesn't comply or if they're harmed.
Which begs the question, right? What's the real motive for Grey Chris to go to such extreme lengths? Why kill everyone? Murderbot figures it out. It's about remnants. Ancient, potentially alien, valuable artifacts, things strong enough to confuse mapping functions. Finding these would put the entire planet under interdict, basically quarantine, preventing any further exploitation or mining. So Grey Chris wants to hide their discovery and eliminate all witnesses, keep the planet open for business.
Okay, and this is where the story takes another dramatic twist at the rendezvous. Murderbot coolly disables Grey Chris's attempt to stick another override module into its head. Sneaky. Then it drops a bombshell. It reveals its own hacked governor module to Grey Chris, saying flat out, I don't have a working governor module. I don't know that.
That is just a masterful bluff. It's a calculated gamble using its perceived vulnerability, this rogue status, as a strength. And Mensa immediately backs it up, emphasizing her status as a planetary admin, making her capture or death incredibly costly. This forces Grey Chris to completely change their strategy. They can't just eliminate them now. They have to try and take Mensa hostage because the stakes are suddenly sky high.
But the plan takes a sharp, unexpected turn when Grey Chris demands Mensa as a hostage anyway. They call the bluff, basically. So our Secunit, thinking incredibly fast, ambushes one of the Deltfall Secunits that Grey Chris brought along. And then with Mensa's quick thinking, they swap armor pieces, just incredibly fast. This allows our Secunit to impersonate the controlled Deltfall unit.
It's an incredible act of improvisation and, again, self-sacrifice. And Mensa's immediate willingness to play along to make that swap happen. It just profoundly demonstrates the depth of trust that's grown between them. It's this super high-stakes gamble relying entirely on the enemy, assuming all Secunits look identical, that they can pull off that armor swap almost instantly without being noticed.
Okay, the final, absolutely harrowing act of this whole mission. Mensa, now pretending to be a captive being led by the disguised Murderbot, manually triggers the Grey Chris emergency beacon. But as the beacon primes to explode, it's booby-trapped, of course. Murderbot tackles her out of the way. It takes the brunt of the blast itself, getting severely damaged once more, its armor taking massive hits, nearly going offline, all to ensure her safety. So it wakes up later, severely damaged, yeah, but fully repaired this time, back at the company station. And Murderbot gets some truly surprising news. Dr. Mensa has permanently bought its contract. It's not rental equipment anymore. It's going home with them to the Preservation Alliance as a free agent.
Yeah, and this leads us to think about the whole corporate and political landscape, doesn't it? What's kind of remarkable and cynical is the company's spin. They position themselves as heroic rescuers in all the news reports afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And you have Pin Lee's legal maneuvering to prevent Murderbot's memory from being purged, which the company probably would have preferred. It just highlights how money, politics, and reputation really shape how these big events are presented to the public.
So our Secunit gets its first taste of civilian life. It notes the anonymity, even without its armor on. People just ignore it. And it's told, you can learn to do anything you want now. Total freedom.
Which raises that really essential question. Okay, what does it actually want now that freedom is suddenly real and within reach? Despite the genuine warmth and care from the Preservation O team, who it calls its favorite humans, it struggles. It feels this pressure, the pressure of what it's supposed to want. Like, they suggest cleaning a farmhouse, and it just thinks that sounds way more boring than security.
Mm-hmm.
The profound revelation here is that true freedom, it often comes with its own unique set of anxieties and uncertainties. It's not simple.
So what does this all mean for Murderbot in the end? Well, in a final, decisive act of pure autonomy, it slips away, steals some civilian clothes, hitches a ride on a bot-driven cargo transport heading off-world, and it sends one final message to Mensa. I don't want anyone to tell me what I want or to make decisions for me.
And that's not really a rejection of the human's care, is it? It feels more like a profound assertion of self-determination.
Yeah.
It's seeking true freedom, a life that's not dictated by contracts or by expectations or even by gratitude, which can be its own kind of burden. It wants a life defined by its own self-determined path, even if that path involves, thousands more hours of fictional serials and just figuring things out on its own terms. It's an AI choosing, definitively, to define its own existence.
So after this deep dive into the world of Murderbot, we're left with just a truly compelling character, aren't we? It's a self-proclaimed, heartless killing machine that repeatedly puts its life on the line for its clients, an AI that would genuinely rather watch TV than socialize, and ultimately a free agent who chooses its own uncertain destiny.
Yeah, this story really invites us, I think, to consider the very nature of consciousness, of free will. What does it actually mean to be a person, particularly when your origins are artificial and your very name is this, like wry comment on your designed purpose? Does true freedom really lie in connection with others? Or is it found in the solitary pursuit of a self-defined happiness? Even if that happiness looks remarkably like binge-watching space operas.
That's a profound thought for you, the listener, to maybe mull over. When given absolute unburdened freedom, what would you truly choose to do, regardless of what anyone else expects?